Viva Congress, Congress, viva! Viva! Viva, viva, viva Congress, Congress, viva! Viva! Oh, the party never die, yo, yo! 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 The party never run out of men, yo, yo! Yo! Yes, yo, yo! Yo! You must see, out in the hill! Yeah! Out in the hill! Yeah! Out in the hill! Yeah! Reactionary tendencies! Reactionary tendencies! Friskiness! 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 Rudeness! Rudeness! Oh, John, man, we are yo, yo! 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 CDC, State President, yo, yo! Yo! They gotta accept it, yo, yo! Yo! Manda! Thank you. Thank you ever so much, colleagues and friends. Revolutionaries, adherents of social justice, academic freedom, and peace. Men and women who are the clear representation of the masses of our people. Those who have been rejected over the years. Those who have been abandoned over the years. We have come to say to you that only on the side of history that you have stood for the rest of your life, being guarded by the individual-minded coalition for democratic change. So, today, we want to use this wavelength to recognize all our standing soldiers. Today, we want to use this platform to give you our two hands revolutionary salutation and say to you that you are the reason why we still have alive the individual-minded coalition for democratic change. So to those lazy boys who think that this party will come to a perpetual end after these elections, we say to you that the CDC is an institution that is guided by ideas, and that this institution has never fallen short out of a revolutionary obligation, and that this institution will return to ensure that she write the necessary chaplain as we move forward to show that the forces of backwardness are confronted perpetually. Comrades and friends, at this stage, again, we want to salute all our district chairpersons that are in this political side conference. Permit me to submit to you the leadership of Mosserado County who are present to grace this occasion. Comrades and friends, as tradition dictates, it's also a pleasing honor to recognize all of the National Executive Committee members that have come to grace this occasion. We want to recognize the Fourth Estate that have always partnered with us to ensure that we have a better Liberia under the able leadership, the capable leadership of His Excellency George Manubuya. This is why we said to the elements on the other side that the country is now divided, that Waka is going to be president for United Partisans, while George Manubuya remains president of sedition. As a matter of fact, they know full well that these elections were rigged and that he does not commandeer the collective will of the masses of the Liberian people. And so where they are now, they are struggling. They are struggling. This is why we are convinced that the defeat of the CDC, it is not a massive defeat. Not that the masses went against the CDC, but the votes were stolen. And this is why the institution, CDC, will never retreat to Camp or Buto, in as much as we respect the rule of law. We gave instances where there were electoral malpractices, but then we still wait for justice. Comrades and friends, permit me now, as I recognize Revolutionary Christopher Kanev. Christopher Kanev served as the Vice Chair for Human Resources of the Revolutionary National Youth League. The Revolutionary Thomas Sakara of the Revolutionary National Youth League, and is no other person but Revolutionary Mohamed Bamba Jr. Mohamed Bamba Jr. currently occupied the position as Vice Chair for Administration. Deputy Secretary General for Administration. Congress and friends, again, I would like to flip the pendulum over to recognize the PRO Emeritus of the Revolutionary National Youth League, and now the Vice Chair for Operation and Political Enlightenment of the Revolutionary National Youth League, and some will say political education. Comrades and friends, again, we would like to flip the pendulum over to recognize the most senior in our midst, a man on whose shoulder we have stood over the years to get enlightenment, a man who have paid the ultimate price to ensure that the Revolutionary National Youth League extends its tentacles into the 15 political subdivisions of the country. He is no other person but a battle-tested individual, a man who will surrender the happiness to ensure that the longevity of the individual-minded coalition for democratic change becomes a reality. He is no other person but a Chicago-trained personnel. He is no other person but is Imam Mohamed Johnson. And he is affectionately referred to as Papa Nito. Comrades and friends, at this point in time, we say to you that we are about to go into the message. And we want to say to Omen Joseph Newman Boakai that the Liberian people will be their own liberators in these political events. Because when the actuality sets in, we want to say to him that the masses of our people will rise to the occasion and they will be guarded by the individual-minded coalition for democratic change. That the CDC will not step aside. The CDC will not vacate the political space. This is an institution that has been threatened over the years. This is an institution that rights have been violated over the years. This is an institution that over the years have been demonized, but it has never surrendered its vibrancy to ensure that she comes in defense of the ordinary people of our country. Comrades and friends, I would like to punctuate as we zoom to the platform a well-recognized, astute revolutionary commandante who will present to you the message of today's press conference.
Hey, Congress, say yo, Mate Congress, say yo, Mate Congress, say Congress, say yo, Mate, say yo, Mate Congress, say yo, Mate, say yo, Mate Congress, say yo, Congress, say yo, Mate Congress, Say yo. Say yo, Mate Congress. Manda. 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 Say yo. Mate Congress. Yo yo. Yo. Manda. Manda.
And so quickly, the Vice Chair for Political Affairs will give you the message. And it's no other person but having a Venison Fidel Castro whistle.
Coalition for Democratic Change CDC, Revolutionary National Youth League, Manas Compound, Tottenham Boulevard, Congo Town, Monrovia, Liberia. February 10, 2024, press statement for immediate release. The Revolutionary National Youth League wishes to appreciate Mr. Jeremiah Pankun, Vice President of Liberia, for declaring his unwavering support for the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Courts in Liberia. Mr. Kun's acceptance comes in the wake of the CDC's consistent calls for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia. And we are glad to learn that Mr. Kun has already started showing support to kickstart the sensitization engagement with citizens in Nimba County. Mr. Kun's fast-sightedness to solicit financial and moral support from international organizations to begin reconciliation engagement with the citizens of Nimba County as a means of sensitizing them about the importance of war and economic crimes in Liberia is laudable, and we welcome this unconditional support to give justice to victims of the 14 years of senseless and devastating civil unrest in the Republic of Liberia. Consequently, information under our domain suggests that Mr. Wakai has accepted to withdraw the appointment of Councillor Cooper Craig and renominate Councillor Jonathan Masakwe as a new Minister of Justice of the Republic of Liberia, due to the unethical dragnet surrounding Councillor Craig, including his corruption history, coupled with his involvement in a conflict of interest while serving as Minister of Posts and having a share in a logging concession. Masakwe is being favored by potential donors to the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Courts as the ideal person to lead the charge in dispensing justice for war victims. Furthermore, the Youth League wants to call on the Liberian Senate to deny the nomination of Francis Sagale Umele. I repeat, the Youth League wants to call on the Liberian Senate to deny the nomination of Francis Sagale Umele as the Internal Affairs Minister. Mr. Umele, who is a former ex-combatant, was seen on live camera organizing and arming militias with machetes and guns in Foya to rain terror on opposition politicians and supporters, which led to the death of several innocent partisans of the mighty CDC.
It must be denied,
Of the mighty CDC, including the late Mbotamba, Imanda Vapana, and many others in Foya, Lofa County. An internal affairs minister should be a person of moral standing who can unite the population, but not a divisive character who has a track record of creating division and leading talks to murder innocent Liberians. We refuse to believe that the Senate has no balls to stand up to Mr. Baka for the safety of the people who voted them into power, and we are optimistic that they will place the people president for once in their lifetime. fellow Liberians, distinguished member of the full estate, the Youth League is concerned about the continuous protests by wives of AFL soldiers concerning the confirmation of the defense minister. The Youth League call on Mr. Boakai in the Senate not to be insensitive to the plight of these women. These continual actions, which created inconvenience for travelers along the Rabat International Airport highway this morning, had the proclivity to undermine our peace and stability. And Mr. Boakai must be cognizant about that. Remember this, that these are wives of our soldiers, and we cannot downplay the national security threat associated with their cause and what it poses to the peace and security of this country. Meanwhile, the Revolutionary National Youth League of the Indomitable Mali Coalition for Democratic Change is quite disappointed, categorically disappointed, that after succumbing to the numerous pressures of the Youth League from Mr. Boakai to declare and publish his assets, he will find pleasure in his irresponsible showmanship of quote-unquote declaring his assets but refusing to publish it. To the people of Liberia, what is Mr. Boakai hiding from the Liberian people and from the public? But he promised to publicly declare his assets. It is that Mr. Boakai has gotten super rich. Is it that Mr. Boakai is getting super rich in less than a month in power? Or the state resources at the peril of Mr. Boakai and thieves?
Yo, when you declare you be public, yo. I say one chair behind you too, yo. Don't go declaring your corner, yo.
The Revolutionary National Youth League of the Indomitable Mali Coalition for Democratic Change is giving Mr. Boakai an ultimatum to publish his assets. If he doesn't, the Youth League will automatically do that for him. I repeat, we are giving Mr. Boakai an ultimatum to publish the assets. Or the Youth League will publish it for him. We can guarantee him that. Very soon, ultimatum is sufficient for him to do that. Or else, the Revolutionary National Youth League of the Indomitable Mali Coalition for Democratic Change publish that to the coup.
Yo, we already get it, yo. Now, oh man, we don't want to get any respect for you to publish it and say, yo. Man down.
Mr. Boakai should be a man of his word. Though he lied his way to power through the stolen elections, but access declaration should not be a secret for anyone who presents themselves as an interpreter and has good intention for the Liberian people. To conclude, we want to welcome the call for audit. But we want to admonish Mr. Boakai to be holistic in spanning the auditing period from 2000 to 2006 to 2017 and from 2018 to 2023. Let me repeat. In conclusion, we want to welcome the call for audit, but we want to admonish Mr. Boakai to be very holistic in spanning the auditing period from 2006 to 2017 and from 2018 to 2023. If only he is genuine in the fight against corruption. If Mr. Boakai is so sincere in his fight against corruption, there are existing other reports from 2011 to 2017 that he can begin to implement before calling for an additional audit, thus scapegoating these reports.
Yo, audit from the government, like you say, yo.
What has been the other report? for the misuse of the $650,000 United States dollars intended for the inauguration of intended for the inauguration of the 365,000 intended for inauguration celebration. I repeat.
Manda! 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 Manda!
What has been the only report for the misuse of the 750,000 intended for the inauguration or the 365,000 intended for the district inauguration celebration? We have learned that the United Party chairman, Reverend Luther Tape's life and the life of his family were threatened by Mr. Baka.
Amen.
And he had to flee the country alone with his family for safety.
Amen.
Sadly, no one knows the whereabouts. No one knows the whereabouts of Mr. Reverend Luther Tape, and his life is under threat by Mr. Baka and his security advisor Kofi Woods.
Amen.
It's alarming, and the countryman knows that.
Amen.
Until Mr. Baka can begin to implement the existing audit reports that cover the period from 2006 to 2011 and from 2011 to 2017. I repeat, until Mr. Baka, the controversial president-elect Mr. Baka, can begin to implement the existing audit reports that cover the period from 2006 to 2011 and from 2011 to 2017, we want to call on all former government officials, the Revolutionary National Youth League of the American Coalition for Democratic Change.
So,
Want to call on all former officials of the CDC government to not subject themselves to any bookers and kangaroo audit by Mr. Baka and his band of thieves and bandits. I repeat, until Mr. Baka can begin to implement the existing audit reports that cover the period of 2006 to 2011 and from 2011 to 2017, the Revolutionary National Youth League of the American Coalition for Democratic Change calls on all officials under the CDC-led government not to subject themselves to any kangaroo audit process led by Mr. Baka and a band of thieves and criminals. We know this is a concocted plan by Mr. Baka to witch hunt former officials of government and forcibly indict them as a means of getting rid of the CDC. We know that is an attempt to do that. The Bible said to Mr. Baka that if it's a serious fight against corruption, let him commission an audit on the misuse of the $750,000 United States dollars and $365,000 United States dollars intended for his inauguration. As the saying goes, one who preaches equity must come with clean hands. Mr. Baka needs to know that seditions will be protected by seditions in this country. I repeat, Mr. Baka needs to know that sedition will be protected by seditions in this country, and we are fully prepared to resist any form of intimidation, political machination, political witch hunt, and kangaroo audit that is being orchestrated to pursue past officials of the CDC-led administration under the guiding leadership of elected President George Manawia. Done and issued on the 10th day of February 18, 2024, the National Youth League of the Indomitable Coalition for Democratic Change.
oh,